Welcome back, collectors, and thanks for tuning in to Comic Statues Unleashed, your go-to channel for all things related to large-scale comic-inspired statues. Today, I'm excited to present one of the darkest and most brutal statues I've ever laid my hands on.
Who's the veiny ballsack?
This is the Prime One Studios Devastator. This incredible piece is part of the Dark Knight's metal line, and it captures the full essence of the evil Devastator. No, not that Devastator. This Devastator is an unstoppable mix of Batman's intelligence and Doomsday's raw power. Prepare to witness one of the most fearsome creations in DC's Dark Knight's metal universe. In this video, I'll guide you through every intricate detail, covering sculpt, paintwork, design choices, and how this statue brings Devastator's menacing presence to life. This is a piece that fans of the Dark Multiverse won't want to miss. So let's jump right in and break down why this statue is truly one for the ages. Let's get into it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any upcoming statue reviews, unboxings, and deep dives into the world of collectible art. From the shadowy depths of DC's Dark Knight's metal saga emerges the Devastator, a grotesque amalgamation of Bruce Wayne's calculated brilliance and the unstoppable brute force of Doomsday. Prime One Studios has immortalized this nightmarish iteration of Batman in a breathtaking statue that challenges our perception of heroism and monstrosity. Today, we explore not just the physical dimensions of this piece, but the psychological dimensions of the character it represents, a fallen hero whose descent into darkness blurs the lines between savior and destroyer. Created by Scott Snyder, Craig Capullo, while illustrated by Jason Fabok, Devastator hails from an alternate universe, Earth -1, in the Dark Multiverse, where Batman is forced to make an unimaginable choice to save his world. On this Earth, Superman, corrupted and turned evil, is rampaging across the world, killing anyone who opposes him. Desperate and seeing no other option, Bruce decides to inject himself with a version of the Doomsday virus, rapidly mutating him into a hulking, monstrous hybrid of Batman and Doomsday. Thus, the Devastator is born out of Bruce Wayne's ultimate fear, helplessness. In his desperation to stop Superman, Bruce succumbs to sacrificing his humanity for power. This speaks to a core psychological truth. The fear of vulnerability often drives individuals to make extreme, irreversible choices. This Devastator embodies the erosion of Bruce Wayne's identity. Batman has always been a symbol of intellect, discipline, and resilience, but in his Devastator form, these qualities are obliterated, leaving behind a primal, destructive force. Psychologically, this reflects what happens when a person abandons their core values in favor of unchecked survival instincts. Within this Devastator, we witness the collapse of the hero archetype. Batman, typically the paragon of calculated justice, becomes a symbol of chaotic destruction. This psychological shift reveals the fragility of even the most steadfast personas. When pushed beyond his limits, the hero's psyche fractures, leaving behind not a savior, but a force of annihilation. Going deeper, the Doomsday virus can be interpreted as a metaphor for the darker aspects of the human psyche, our base instincts for survival and domination. By succumbing to it, Bruce Wayne exposes his shadow self, a Jungian concept referring to the suppressed, darker elements of one's personality. The Devastator is, in essence, Bruce confronting and ultimately being consumed by his own shadow. Progressing to the review, as usual for modern Prime One pieces, this came in 3 large boxes. Feel free to pause if you require this information. As expected, the art boxes are well illustrated and very loud, but in a good way. It depicts a highly filtered image of the actual statue, as well as a fractured and scorned Batman, willing to do whatever it takes and kill if the need should arise.
Batman doesn't kill people.
Because he's a pussy!
He's a dark creature of the night.
He's a jackass!
Inside, we have the assembly instructions and location blueprint. Much appreciated with the new pieces are the larger pictures for the instructions. You can now almost marginally make out the steps. Also included is a glamour shot portfolio of the piece from all angles. Very nice and well done. Box 1 has only one layer and houses the base. Unwrapped, we are greeted with a gargantuan base. The base isn't merely a setting, it's an extension of the Devastator's identity. Notice how the sharp edges mimic his protruding bone structures, creating a visual harmony between the character and his environment. The design evokes a battlefield frozen in time, a monument to devastation itself. This synergy between the base and figure elevates the piece from mere sculpture to environmental storytelling. It depicts the classic eagle gargoyle Batman is so accustomed to. Not only that, but the base itself has undergone a metamorphosis along with Batman. In a type of pathetic fallacy, this base mimics the Doomsday mutation. The avid enthusiast will recognize the similar eagle gargoyle base from the Dark Knight 3 Master Race Batman, now infected and exhibiting the effects of the Doomsday virus as well. Even the overall pose, right arm back and left arm held in front of him, echoes the continuity of Batman across multiverses. Yet amid the chaos, there's a symmetry in the design of the base, a nod to the calculated destruction that mirrors Batman's meticulous nature. As we get into the specifics of the base, we can see it measures 19 inches by 16 inches by 22 inches tall. Box 2, Layer A, is located behind the foam in a secret compartment, housing 2 capes in 3 individual pieces. Here, we see the Batcape has been completely destroyed with the mutation and preceding battle with Superman. It is riddled with holes and dirt. The weathering and distress is palpative. It outlines the fury and transgressions preceding this moment. Along with that, we have the iconic, disheveled Superman cape similar to that of the death of Superman. Keep in mind, collectors, the Superman cape is not part of the regular edition. It is the exclusive bonus piece I happily was lucky enough to secure.
Oh, yeah.
This cape, although small, alludes to the demise of the Man of Steel. Box 2, Layer B, houses the legs and torso. Unwrapped, we can see this behemoth for the true monster that it is. Included in this portion is an auxiliary base piece, specifically an enormous Doomsday-esque tusk, large and heavy to say the least. This portion continues the theme and aesthetic of the remainder of the base and adds some additional character as well as depth to the already impressive base. Here we have the legs as well as all of the torn batsuit. The subtle veins coursing beneath the surface, painted in faint green and blue, suggest a creature still alive yet decayed. This intricate paintwork evokes a sense of unease, drawing the eyes to areas of unnatural vitality juxtaposed against the overall aura of decay. The transition from matte to gloss in certain areas adds an unsettling organic quality, as though his skin is in a constant state of mutation. As we examine the torso, the sculpt is a study in contrast, muscle and sinew rendered with visceral detail, yet veiled in an aura of chaos and decay. Note how the jagged bone protrusions and the tension in his musculature reflect the uncontrollable ferocity of Doomsday, while subtle nods to Batman's tactical precision remain in the sharp angles of his armor. This duality invites us to question, is the Devastator truly devoid of reason, or he's a creature of terrifyingly logical destruction? The rear torso exacerbates the effects of the Doomsday virus. He has become less human and more monster here. His body has created and formed an exoskeleton of armor. His vertebrae are now protruding behind his body, and his skin is now unrecognizable. Just taking a moment here to really showcase how large these individual pieces are and give some reference to them. Box 3, only one layer, and easily the smallest of the boxes. Unwrapped, we finally get glimpses of the 3 separate and unique portraits, both arms, and the kryptonite Spear of Destiny. The enormous appendages of Devastator are a real sight to admire. The high degree of detail and texture in the skin and vein work is incredible. The paint application on this statue is worth admiring. Prime 1 has used a rich, gritty color palette to capture the raw, earth tone feel of Devastator's rocky exterior. Subtle shades of gray and brown across his body add to the realism. It's small details like these that really elevate this piece. Just for comparison, I have my hands here to show how large these pieces are. Here we have the iconic kryptonite spear, very large and well weighted at 22.5 inches long. The paint and texture give the impression that it is made of metal and looks extremely well built. The jagged kryptonite has the look of a honed piece of metal with all of the contours to it. Although not illuminated, the paint app looks as if it is. The spearhead has an almost glowing appearance to it. Sadly, and a bit of a miss if you ask me, this is positioned in a very awkward location on this masterpiece. Only if you have the complementary Batman transformation from Earth -1 would you be able to position this in his hand and truly showcase it. Prime One Studios has once again redefined the art of paint application, layering hues of shadowy gray, sickly green, and metallic highlights to convey a creature born of death and despair. The muted tones juxtapose against the fiery red of his eyes, which almost seems to pulse with malevolence, drawing us into the madness of this hybrid monstrosity. The subtle weathering across his form speaks to the battle-scarred life he has endured, a grim narrative etched into every crack and crevice. And the eyes, those tiny red eyes, give off a powerful, menacing stare, almost as if Devastator's about to launch into battle. The color even spills over into the eye sockets, giving it an almost illuminated feel. Here, we have the comic statue special of me highlighting the assembly and a 360-degree view. Unfortunately, this is not my 360 view. It is directly from Prime 1, as I had to assemble this beast in place. The Devastator represents not just a physical transformation, but a symbolic annihilation of Batman's identity. By fusing with the Doomsday virus, Bruce sacrifices his intellect for raw power, creating a living paradox, a creature that embodies humanity's perpetual struggle between the mind and the primal instinct to survive at all costs. As you examine this piece, you are reminded of the cost of Batman's sacrifice. The faint remnants of the bat symbol across his chest serve as a haunting reminder of who he once was, a symbol of hope and intellect, now reduced to raw, unthinking power. It forces us to ask a painful question. If even the world's greatest detective can succumb to such darkness, what hope is there for the rest of us? The Devastator doesn't just take up physical space, it dominates it. Its scale magnifies the existential weight of its narrative, making it not just a display piece, but a commanding presence in any room. Even among other Prime 1 masterpieces, this statue demands attention, casting an imposing shadow over the rest of your collection. In terms of fully assembled measurements, this bad boy clocks in at a whopping 26 inches wide by 38 inches tall and 22 inches deep. The exaggerated proportions of this piece are a testament to the unrestrained power of this character. Here I am giving him comparison to a recent acquisition, the 1/3 Doomsday. And I just wanted to illustrate the slabbed comic I will be pairing him with, signed by Jason Fabok as well. Standing at an imposing height, the Devastator commands attention, not merely for its size, but for its sheer presence. The Devastator is more than a physical entity. He's an embodiment of Bruce Wayne's worst fears, his obsession with control turned inward, corrupting him from within. Prime One Studios captures this existential horror by presenting us with a figure that is both human and inhuman. This piece challenges us to reflect on the psychological toll of power and whether, in our pursuit of strength, we risk losing what makes us human. In the Prime One Devastator, we see not just a statue, but an artistic triumph that pays homage to one of DC's most haunting what-if stories. It is a stark reminder of the cost of hubris, the fragility of mortality, and the enduring allure of the monstrous. For collectors and fans alike, this piece is more than a purchase. It is a journey into the darker corners of the superhero mythos, where the line between hero and villain is obliterated. In the context of a collection, this statue serves as a monolithic centerpiece, a visual anchor that demands reverence and sparks conversation. The Dark Multiverse is the shadow under reality's great machine. It is a rolling abyss of nightmares where every fear, every bad decision, and every horrible possibility lives and breathes. This description from Barbados highlights the ominous and chaotic nature of the Dark Multiverse, portraying it as a realm where humanity's worst imaginings come to life. The Devastator stands as a testament to the studio's unparalleled ability to blend storytelling with artistry. It is more than a statue, it is an invitation to reflect on the fragility of the human spirit when pushed to its limits. This piece will not just adorn your collection, it will haunt it, serving as a perpetual reminder of the shadows that lurk in every hero's soul. Well, that wraps up today's deep dive and video. What do you think of Prime 1's representation of the Devastator? Is it metal enough for you? Will he be haunting your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review and deep dive, please hit the like button and consider subscribing for more reviews. Until we meet again, keep your passion for collecting alive and your love for superheroes soaring.